Going to believe who I'm with here. My close personal friend, the one, the only, Mr. Mike Matheny.
I've never seen you before in my life.
All right, Mike. We can agree to disagree, but one thing we can agree on.
Get your baseball news in one Cardinal, one Cub, and one beer.
With your favorite, Vince Hopper?
And the other guy?
JJ?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, welcome to show number 149. 149.
149!
One Cardinal, one Cup, and one beer. 149 episodes.
Woohoo!
It doesn't seem like it's over 138, but it's 149. So
It's 140. Did you notice something this week, Vince? We got 100. We hit 100 subscribers.
I did not notice that.
Triple digits. So
Wow.
Thank you for everybody out there. We appreciate it.
Yes. Keep subscribing. Keep liking us. Keep pushing us like we're drugs. And walk up to your people and say, hey, I got something better than heroin. It's one Cardinal, one Cup, and one beer. And once they try it, they're hooked until they go to rehab. So, but I do ask you, those of you who are watching us on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can have our information as soon as it drops. And those of you who follow us on Facebook, and I hope everybody does, please like us on Facebook. And that is greatly appreciated. If you would like to contact us, you can do it through one of our platforms, or you can just do the old-fashioned email thing, one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. Those of you who would like to support our efforts, go to patreon.com, and in the search bar, type in one Cardinal, one Cup, and one beer, and you can support our efforts, and all that is greatly appreciated. So, JJ, look at that. Look at that bruise.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh.
I have a big hematoma here, right there.
Oh, God love you.
And I got a huge bruise on my butt. I'm not showing anybody that.
Okay. We'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's there. Trust me. I don't like being old.
No.
We only have outdoor stairs going to our basement because the house was built in like the year 692 BC. So I have two pieces of bite-sized salami, and I am walking down the steps, and it has just rained. And with the combination of the rain, the elm maple sap falling everywhere that we fight every year, the pollen, plus the fact that I'm old and I wasn't paying really good attention, and we have a loose stair, which I have since fixed. I fell hard, and I mean, it was boom. And I fell, my salami flew up and hit the ground. My salami. It was terrible. Kathy comes out.
You're lucky you didn't get hurt worse, though. You could have hit your head on a step or something. I mean, anything could have happened.
Oh, that wouldn't have hurt worse. So, I'm like Ironhead Hayward, man. There's nothing.
Yeah, man.
So anyway, I am trying to walk it off, and Kathy's like, "Are you okay?" No. So the reason I have this wrapped is the bruise is like this big, but I don't know if people are familiar with the hematoma. The blood kind of coagulates, and that has kind of hit the surface. It's still under the skin, but it's very tender. So if I'm driving and I put my arm down on the armrest or something, it hurts because it's so sensitive. So I bought this to wrap it up. And I'm also practicing my Iron Mike Sharp impersonation.
Great recall. I forgot all about it. Iron Mike. Yes, that's a perfect recall. Now you need a one of those short haircuts in the front, long in the back. Yeah,
a mullet. Yeah,
a mullet.
Yeah. Did you know that Iron Mike Sharp had OCD? This isn't a joke. He would he was obsessive about working out. He was in great shape. And even after like a wrestling show, and sometimes, he'd go like a half an hour and the arena would clear out. He would run laps up and down the steps of Madison Square Garden afterwards. And the other wrestlers thought he was a freak because everybody else was like, oh, let's go get a beer. And
He's still running.
yeah. So,
Bob Backlund was kind of like that too, where he do those deep knee bends, like thousands of them sometimes and stuff. Just a different kind of person.
Bob Backlund, I don't know if you ever watched TNA in the early years. He was in TNA for a while, and I love that character he did in TNA. That was
With the bow tie?
with the bow tie, the ultra square. It was
That was perfect for him.
so how are you doing? I know you've had some technical issues.
Oh yes, on the phone. If you see some jarring, I'm trying to get the thing charged. I'm just not very tech savvy, and that's part of being old. I remember I bought my grandparents a microwave one time, and they were scared of it. They looked at it, they were afraid to put things in it, like, oh, look at this, look at, they were just, and I'm that way now. I find myself with like the phone, I touch a button, and the next thing you know, I look like I don't know. I can't, so the kids have to do everything for me like that, any kind of technology. So I'm just very backwards in that, where you get a third grader, they can, link up to two other people and talk at the same time. It's just a paperweight for me, Vince, at this point in time. Paperweight.
And
But go
I was
ahead.
going to say, when I was younger and my mom could not get her VCR clock to work, and gosh, Mom, how can you be so stupid? And now I'm that person.
We
You know,
are. Time has passed us by on some of this
yeah,
technology stuff. I
it's
just, I can't, I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. That's the problem. I think I'm going to hit something. Of course, I do, and then they can't figure out what I did to get it back. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I went to Branson this weekend, and it was a really nice. It's still very crowded down there. And Vince, I hadn't been since 2014, and it's changed some. And I always was afraid Branson was kind of going to go away. It's going to be one of those things like the circus or the Harlem Globetrotters that were like big at one time, but kind of started to fade away a little bit. But they've got a really good business plan. They've got a lot of things going on down there. Not only if you're an outdoors person or you like the lakes, but there's a lot of things still going on. So had a blast. I know Shepherd of the Hills now have like Broadway shows kind of thing. They had the one play where it's the $1 Million Quartet. They're doing that down there. We we're kind of did it on a budget. We saw a murder mystery, but it was like a Branson murder mystery, where it was like hillbilly stuff and all that kind of thing, like a hee haw skit almost, And then we went and seen David at the Light and Sound Theater. And for folks that like plays, even if you're not into Bible stories, this is so well done. The sound, the singing, the acting, and the sets, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. They had 3 sold-out shows Saturday, and people came from far away as Nebraska. I've seen some Colorado plates that said John Elway. Evidently, John Elway sells used cars, so there was a lot of markers on there about John Elway's cars. And
he's got. I think he's got a few car dealerships.
Okay, so I would see that, and my wife was like, "John Elway sells cars." I said, "Well, he's like you said, he's got dealerships." So anyway, just met a lot of people, and it was a good time. And took Faith down there, and 2 of the kids, Brody and Bailey, and we just had a really good time. Ate some good food, and I saw some shows, and just got to spend a good time together. So that was kind of my family weekend this weekend.
Well, good, good. And speaking of religion, I see that you have yet to be raptured today.
Is something going on? Was there predicted or something? It can happen at any time. I didn't know there was a set date and a time or anything going on. But yeah, I'm still here. Good for better or worse. I'm still here.
I posted on Facebook this I think this is like my eighth rapture since I've been alive. So
Well, you would hear things like, 2000 with the Y2J, oh, things are going to change. It could be the time. And somebody would step forward and say, it's this date on this time. I was like, oh, who knows that? It's, if you do believe in that or you don't, no one would know. So, yeah, I'm still here, Vince. So maybe I wasn't a good person. I don't know, but I'm still here. You guys are still stuck with me.
well, I started getting raptured, but I got hung up in our elm tree. And by the time I got stuck, I was so worn out on sticking myself. I just went to McDonald's, got a Big Mac, and came home.
Well, you're going to get more bruises, so be careful out there, Vince.
Yeah, yeah. If you and this is nothing new, nothing new. If you read the Book of Acts, Jesus at the beginning, they're saying, "When are you going to come back and you know establish your earthly kingdom?" And then he goes up, and they're just sitting there staring at him, wait for him to come back. And then an angel says, "What are you doing? Just he told you to get to work. Go get to work." And I mean, that's my biggest criticism of Christianity today, especially in today's world where we've got this hypervigilance to try to force Jesus to come back. Um, Even people who are not serious about religion but who have read the Bible know that nowhere in the Bible does it say that you're supposed to call God's hand.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, I'm with you.
we still haven't changed. We're still the people looking up, wondering when Jesus is going to come back, whenever uh, Jesus left us this catalog of things to do for the better of humanity, to love our neighbors and everything else. All the crap we don't do today. But so,
I try, I fail, but I try.
yeah, I don't. I shouldn't preach sermons anymore. So anyway, let's get into some news and some transactions. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got playoff baseball coming, and the Milwaukee Brewers have Jose Quintana and Brandon Woodruff both on the 15-day IL. Quintana has a lower calf strain, and Woodruff has a right lat strain. Now, they do have, they're not going to have to play the first round. So people could get healthy. I don't know what these are retroactive to. But that second round, that's a 5-game series. So they're probably can do with 3 pitchers. But if they make it to that uh, uh,
Championship round.
championship of the National League, they're gonna need one of those starters. So um, I don't want to say I feel sorry for them because they are a rival, but I kind of feel bad for anybody who's got something like this suddenly crop up, when you're having such a great season.
You,
It's
you know, that is part of the game, Vince. I mean, if you play 6 months, you try to stay healthy. Down the stretch, you try to rest people, but things happen. I remember '74 when I think it was Reggie Jackson was on crutches, and that was a big part of the A's and the Cardinals. We have had so many injuries. Jack Clark to Matheny to Vince Coleman to Ray Langford right down the stretch. They get hurt right before the playoffs, and you're like, oh, but that's the beauty of it. Next man up. You gotta put the other teams are not feeling sorry for you, and you
no,
just go out there and Mizorowski has not pitched like he did back in June or July, whenever that was, and he's kind of came back down to earth a little bit. So I don't know. It's going to be tough for them, Vince, and you guys. Isn't Tucker having some injury issues too? Is he kind of hurt?
I'll get into that in depth, but yeah,
Okay.
well, we don't know what's going on there. The Mets, who are trying to hold on for dear life, um,
Yeah.
uh, Reed Garrett is on the 15-day IL with a sprained right elbow, so that's all they need is more pitching issues. Um, for the Royals, Kyle Isbell's on the 10-day IL with the left hamstring strain, and Lucas Urseg is on the 15-day IL with right shoulder impingement. Um, it's just not Kansas City's 500 team, probably should have been a little bit better, but when you have the injuries that they've had, uh, pitching injuries with Reagan's out for so long, it's hard to make up for that for your ace being. Uh, for the Dodgers, Michael Kopech is on 15-day IL with right knee inflammation, so that's not going to be good for them. For Houston, Yonder Alvarez is on Alvarez 10-day IL for a sprained left ankle. Um, and Colt Keith for Detroit is on the 10-day IL with a right rib cage inflammation. And we'll get into Detroit pretty soon. This is epic. This is epic. For Toronto, Chris Bassett's on the 15-day IL with lower back inflammation as they celebrate clinching a playoff berth, and then this happens. No one cares about the Twins, but Pablo Lopez is on the 15-day IL with a right forearm strain, so he's probably just going to go home and do some fishing or whatever. For the Athletics, talk about a team going nowhere. Sean Newcomb is on the 15-day IL with left elbow inflammation. And Detroit, they released Charlie Morton, and then Atlanta signs him. And he pitched good in Atlanta, and they like him. And I didn't, maybe I haven't paid attention to what he's doing in Detroit, but I didn't think he was having that bad of a season. And no obits of note to speak of this week. So there's the walking wounded. So JJ, you know what we're going to get next year?
I heard the news today. It sounds like a Beatles song. I heard the news today. Robot. I don't really. I was going to call it IBS, but that's bowel trouble. They're going to have the robot umps.
No, they're going to have irritable bowel syndrome. That's what they're.
I do. Being a Cardinal fan, I have that this year.
It's the automated balls and strikes, and they're going to do it the way they did in spring training and the way AAA games have done it. I don't know how many you get, but if you challenge, either the hitter or the pitcher can challenge a ball or a strike. It works very quick. There's no interruption in the game, but if you miss, you lose it. And I think in the minors you get 2, but if you're right, you retain it. So it's kind of like the challenge rule. If you are right with the challenge rule, you retain it. If you miss it, you lose it. But the good thing about this is it doesn't take going to New York and taking forever. It's very quick. So congratulations to the Padres for clinching a wild card berth. Very good. Already mentioned the Blue Jays have clinched a wild card berth. And this is what I wanted to talk about because this is amazing. In the last 10 games, the Guardians have picked up 8 games on the Tigers. They are 9-1 in the last 10. The Tigers are 1-9. They picked up 8 games, and they are only 1 game back of the Tigers, who up until the All-Star break looked like they were
indestructible
baseball. And even after that, they were still maintaining. They didn't look nearly as great, but they were still maintaining and had a healthy lead. And I will admit, at the trade deadline, I pronounced Cleveland out of here. I was wrong. They're making noise. JJ, if Detroit doesn't make the playoffs, is there going to be riots?
No, it'd be one of the biggest choke jobs ever. I mean, they were setting up there. Their team looked fantastic. A lot of people were putting them number 1 in their power rankings. Cleveland has went through so many issues this year. They had the 2 bullpen guys in Class A, who's maybe considered the best reliever in the game, and another reliever they're under an investigation for gambling. And they even cleaned out their lockers. I mean, you lose 2 people, you lose Class A, that hurts any team. And they've had injuries too. They traded away people at trading deadline. But Vince, here they are. And I tell you what, there's some magic going on there. They've actually tied the Astros, I believe, for that final playoff spot. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think so. So there's two ways they could get in. They could get the wild card, or they could win the division or their division. So my gosh, it's amazing. It really is, Vince. That organization is one I think the Cardinals should strive for, about bringing up players and coaching them up and developing pitching. And I mean, they don't have a big budget. The Giants went out and spent a ton of money, and they got the same record we do. So uh, I think there's a lot of people wanting to see Cleveland make it, because Detroit's not a big powerhouse money team either, but Cleveland's just come so far. And they even traded away one of the Naylor brothers last year, and they're still up there. I'm telling you what, it's an amazing story, Vince. And I can't. And Cleveland and Detroit play each other Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. So hang on right there. That could be fantastic.
I we've all seen epic collapses, because we've all been, most of the people on here are older that have been watching baseball for years. I don't think I've seen a team in a 10-game span make up 8 games. I mean, I've never seen it happen this late in September. And one of the closest things that I can wrap my head around almost happened in 2006, when the Cardinals the last few weeks of the season just started losing and losing and losing, and basically backed into the playoffs at the last moment when they had this big lead, and then they won the World Series. So, I mean, anything can happen, but wow, I would hate to be in the Detroit locker room right now. You've got to feel deflated. You've got to.
Yeah.
Good thing is, Scuba's got one more start to go, and that's usually a pretty good chance you're going to win. But I'm just
there's talk of him. They moving him up a game, so maybe he could pitch 2 games, but then that might hurt him for the playoffs if they don't win the division. This has really altered their team, and I don't know. Stress is a thing where when you feel something slipping away, it just seems like you can't play loose. And Cleveland just seems like they got all the confidence in the world, and here they come. And I know they play Detroit and Texas. The Tigers have Cleveland, and I don't know who they play in the final 3, but it's going to be must-watch TV. I'm excited. We're down to the final week, 6 days to go, and here we are. And this time next week, we'll be talking about the playoffs.
Yeah. And I do want to accept all the thank yous from all the Reds fans who have been thanking the Cubs fans for us deciding to go into Cincinnati and let a divisional rival back into the playoff picture by getting swept. And I'm not laughing at all. I know we're in the playoffs, but come on, man. Don't let Cincinnati in with that pitching. And we went over there and we just stunk it up. And it's to a point now where the only starting pitcher I trust is Cade Horton. The rest of them, Boyd looks very human. Imanaga gives up the home runs, mostly solo shots, but does give up the home runs, and it agitates me. And then you have, your Colin Rays of the world, and your Assads of the world, people pitching that are iffy. They're back of the rotation people at best. And so I was not happy with how we didn't even show up in Cincinnati. Just ridiculous.
Well, maybe you're getting it out of your system now so you can hit the playoffs hard. Sometimes that's it. I mean, every team goes through ups and downs. Get that out of your system now, Vince, so when you hit the playoffs, you can hit it in a full sprint.
We're
maybe
not that now. Fastballs, curveballs.
No,
knuckleballs, eephus
nothing.
pitches. We're not hitting it. So anyway, I wanted to end my little segment on uh, news with a little downer. So JJ, what other news you got to pick us up?
Well, I tell you what, I'm a Mike Trout fan. He hit his 400th home run. That's that's pretty remarkable. I mean, at the beginning of his career, you thought, "Oh, this guy's going to hit 600," but a lot of injuries have slowed him down. But he has made it to 400, and good for him. And Vince, I don't know how you feel about this. The California Angels have now it's official. This will be a losing season for them, and that's 10 straight years been below 500. And as Mike Trout, he's got this big contract. They love him. The Angels organization just absolutely loves him. But he's only been in one playoff round, and that's it. And it's kind of sad that that's all he's seen. But what would you do if you were Mike Trout? I mean, they love you. I don't know if he goes to another team, would they care for him as much as that team, or should he stay there? What would you do? Would you stay there and be like the Tony Gwynn or the Ernie Banks of that team, or would you say, I got to get out of here? I mean, what would you do? I'll tell you what I would do, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
There's other considerations. Yeah, you got your family. What do they want to do? Um, it's it's not easy for some families to pick up and move. It really isn't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job, and there are people who are offered the chance to move to a different place and work for, maybe get a raise, and they say, no, I want to stay here because this is home. My uncle, who passed away back in the 80s, he was a foreman at A.O. Smith in Granite City, and then they moved the whole operation to Arkansas and offered to, come on with us. Nope, not going to do it. And he got like a $10,000 severance pay, which in today's world isn't much, but back then it was okay. But you had a guy who was probably in his early 50s suddenly in the job market trying to find something, and it was very tough. And what finally saved his bacon was A.O. Smith moved back to Granite City, and he got his job back as a foreman, but it took about 5 years. Um, so there are other considerations. I'm just saying, if I'm Mike Trout, I go somewhere else. And I I don't was Artie Moreno the team? Did he own the team when they won the World Series 20?
I don't believe so. That was 2002, perhaps,
Yeah.
when they won that. And I don't think he was, but I'm not positive on that. But yeah, uh, does that make a difference for you if it was if you got there with a different owner at the beginning and all that?
No, I'm just Artie Moreno doesn't know how to put a team together. He
No.
he spends big money on a few contracts and makes big splashes, but he doesn't put enough talent around that to make them win, to enable them to win. You think about it, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani was on that team. Uh, Anthony Rendon. Who else did he sign to a huge contract? Albert Pujols. You
Albert
know,
Pujols.
he signed these people to these stupidly long, ridiculous contracts, and that's hamstrung the rest of the team. Would I have been tempted to sign Rendon after he had a great season and they won the World Series in Washington? Yes, but I don't sign people when I'm going to be paying them 30 million, 40 million when they're past the age of 40. I mean, uh, you can get a good, decent middle infielder that's going to help you win for probably 20% of that. He just he's he likes the big things, but he doesn't put the team around them to succeed. And you say, "Oh, that's bad luck," blah blah blah. No, it's not bad luck. At this point, it's a pattern. Um, and there seems to be some kind of a culture there that doesn't expect to win. And when you have Tani and Trout on the same team and they make one playoff appearance and those years they were together, there was something wrong there. And it wasn't, I mean, I think it was it just one game or was it a 3-game series? I mean,
I think it was a 3-game series. I think it was, and
they
they
were
and they
out.
lost.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
out. It's not like they were even competitive when they made it. So if
and they
I'm
don't
Mike
bring up
Trout,
many. Their minor leagues don't produce a lot of major leaguers. They're going out and having to get people from other places or sign people or trade whatever. I think Joe Adell, the outfielder, it's taken him a while. He's coming around now, but he was a highly touted minor leaguer, and it took him a while to get going. So they've had some bad luck with that, or didn't coach him up well. I like Ron Washington. He's out there right now, so maybe he's been out there a couple of years now. So maybe that can get things going. But yeah, it's what you're comfortable with. He's made it this long. I would say, you got your friends, you got your family, you know where everything's at. And I know he said once he'd like to be there when they turn everything around, but I don't know how many more years Mike's got. But anyway,
yeah.
I think that's nice, but I just don't know if in his playing career it's going to happen.
Yeah, and how do you trade that contract now? Because he's going to get hurt. And the only way they can swing a deal is probably going to be for not 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 top prospects, but some middle prospects. And then they're going to have to eat some of that contract.
Right.
And whatever team he goes to, I'm sure they're going to say, you're a DH, period. Don't, if you don't want a DH, don't come here because it's more important that we have your bat in the lineup. You're going to DH, you're not going to steal bases. That's it. And I
I
mean,
know that was part of
Trout's,
what made him so good. He could steal bases, he hit home runs, he played a really good center field. But now you're right, he's just really a DH right now.
yeah, yeah, it's a bad situation. And speaking of the Angels, Kyle Hendricks pitched his last major league game this past weekend, so that will be it for him. He's hanging it up, and I hope that the Cubs sign him to one of those one-day contracts. He can retire a Cub and then put him on staff somewhere. He,
Yeah, I like pitchers like Kyle Hendricks, a guy who knows how to pitch. He's a pitcher, changing speeds, moving the ball in and out. The Cardinals have always had trouble with folks like that. The hard throwers we seem to do pretty good against, but it's the pitchers like that just, man, they just chew us up and make us pound it into the ground or pop it straight up, things like that.
I
So
saw a meme the
I
other
got great
day.
memories of him. I just have great memories of him, even though he played for not my team. I can really appreciate a really good player like that.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was one of the Cardinals World Series parades, but the caption under says, "St. Louis Cardinal fans celebrate the retirement of Kyle Hendricks." It's like
Yeah, we don't need to be facing him no more. He beats us up. And
he
Steve Carlton, I'm glad Steve Carlton's not in the league anymore because he used to. I think he beat us 5 times in one season. I was like, good Lord, we can't beat this guy. A lot of retirements too. A lot of we're saying goodbye. Clayton Kershaw announced his retirement, and he did it at the end of the season, and he had his last regular season start in LA. And I love these moments. They went out after a strikeout and took him out of the game, and he was emotional. His family's in the crowd, and he, acknowledged them, and the crowd just applauded. And it's nice because he's been, I looked at some of his stats, Vince, and he's one of the all-time greats. A lifetime ERA of let's see, his WAR is 80.5. He's 222 wins, 96 losses, and has struck out over 3,000 batters and one of the lower ERAs, I think, in since 1920. So for a complete career. What a career he has had. I know people will say, well, in the playoffs, but Vince, that's tough. Besides the playoffs, one of the all-time greatest pitchers, I think, since I've in my lifetime.
I have a theory of why he doesn't do so well in the playoffs. Um,
Well,
he's pitching in the mostly in Los Angeles, and then he's pitching in the summer, and then I think he probably it's a weather thing, probably weather and a little fatigue because the playoffs come at the end of the season, and he has been a workhorse. So I think that's got something to do with his playoff woes. I don't excuse it because he's a major leaguer and a professional, and that's what they live for. But he has had his moments in the postseason where he's been pretty good, but he's also had the moments where he's just been terrible. But I will say this, I've always thought it was very classy when a player just retires. They don't announce it at the beginning of the season, and and I like Mariano Rivera, but that was ridiculous. Everywhere he went, he got gifts, and it was on the news. It was on Sports Center. He went to Minnesota, and they gave him a chair that was just a bunch of broken bats. Yeah, I'm just my favorite retirement. Two favorite retirements. Number one, Ted Williams,
Oh,
home run, won the dugout. That was it. Number two, John Kruk. Told his
oh,
man for the game, I get a hit, homie, I'm retiring. And that's what he did. Got a hit, pulled out of the game. That was it. So I kind of like that. I think that's a little classy.
yeah, I'm with you. I remember Chipper Jones. It was nice. We knew as Cardinal fans, and Chipper was always a thorn in our side. Great player. It's fun watching him. But once I knew it was his last time, I made sure I was at the ballpark just to see him one more time. But I understand. Yeah. When they do that, like Wayno, he announced his retirement, I believe, at the beginning of that year. And you knew Yadier and Albert was on that was their last go around. And really, I think those 2 years, even though we were okay, it was a celebration of all the things that Yachty and Albert did for us. And we really didn't notice how our team was just an average team. We just enjoyed seeing them one more time around. So,
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw has retired. He's got maybe one more championship in him. We'll see. I'm not rooting for the Dodgers. I'm rooting for somebody else this year. Let's see. Anything else on that? Oh, did you hear Tampa Bay Devil Rays have been sold? They got a new owner, and they approved the sale. And the new owner, I believe his name was Patrick Zalewski. He bought the team for a reported $1.7 billion, and this is Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And the guy who owned them had owned them since 2005, and he bought them for $20 million. Vince, we got to get some money together. Let's buy us a team and sell it in 15 years.
Oh, hey, that's how George W. Bush made his. He became a part owner of the Rangers, and I don't remember how much he bought into it, but by the time he sold, the baseball franchise value just skyrocketed.
So, yeah, baseball must be doing pretty good to make that kind of money. I remember Bill Maher owned part of the Mets for a while. And I mean, I think it was a small percentage, but he owned part of the New York Mets for a little while. So,
Bob Hope used to be a minority owner of the Cleveland Indians. So.
I didn't know that. Of course, I knew Gene Autry and the Angels, but I didn't know about Bob Hope. How about that?
Danny Kaye was a minority owner of the Mariners when they first came into the league.
Oh, is there a connection between Seattle and Danny Kaye? Is he from up there or something? Or
I don't think so. I just know he was a huge baseball fan. So
I'll be darned. How about that? And I guess you've seen Kyle. We talk about Kyle Riley every week about him in the MVP race. Well, he just passed up Griffey for the all-time single-season home run record for the Seattle Mariners. He's got 58 now and 121 RBIs. And Vince, if he does win the MVP, he's got a 247 batting average, and it would be like the lowest batting average for an MVP. But that kind of shows you the changing of the times. Used to MVP was the be all end all, and now there's not so much significance on the batting average anymore.
boy, I just and I sent you that comparison to him and Judge. I just cannot give it to Judge. and I know Raleigh is a Gold Glover, a Platinum Glover, but since the All-Star break, he's hitting under 200. I just,
And he's been a DH since he got hurt. He came back and just been DHing for them to kind of just, where Riley's out there catching. And, that pitching staff, Seattle's got an incredible pitching staff that may carry them pretty far into the playoffs. And he's a big part of that, catching and calling those games and all that. He's a part of every pitch. So I think that's really going to help him. I think he's got a good shot at winning that MVP this year.
if the Mariners do not make it to postseason, he won't win it. His only shot is if the Mariners make it. But Judge's stats are so much better, except for the home runs. I mean, it's not like it's a huge gap, and the RBIs. But I just think that Judge is having a better year. I hate to say that.
You know what? You convinced me when you showed me that everything next to each other. Yeah, he's going to win the batting title, and he's he has played center field most of the year, and I think there's a big difference when Judge is not in the Yankee lineup. There's just you can just tell they don't have whatever he brings to the table. He brings so much. He's
Yeah.
The last thing I was going to bring up about just general baseball news is Corbin Carroll, who we're both big fans of. We've talked about many, many times on here. But Vince, he just made the 30-30 club. And I just think he's as steady as you can get. And he's just one of those young players. I think the game's in a good place right now because there's players like Corbin Carroll out there. And man, that kid, I tell you what, the future's bright for him. I think when he finally gets to the free agency, he's going to cash in. And of course, I love to see players stay where they're at, unless he wants to come to St. Louis. But but I'm so happy for him, and he's such a good player, and he plays hard. And when I watch Diamondback games, I always keep an eye on what he's doing. So I just want to point out 30-30. I know people have done 50-50 now, but 30-30 used to be incredible achievement, in a season. And I'd take that from any player on my team if they made 30-30 clubs.
Yeah, I think it's still significant.
I do too.
I still think 2020 is significant.
Oh, I would love for us to have some 2020 guys, but not this year anyway.
Oh, so what's going on with the Cardinals?
Well, I want to point out the minor leagues. We haven't talked about the minor leagues in a while. The Cardinals, since Chaim Bloom took over this year, we moved from the beginning of the year rated 19th to 9th, and the Springfield Cardinals, I mean, you've both been down there this year, they're in the Texas League Championship, and they're playing the Midland Rockhounds, and that's the Oakland A's, or Sacramento A's. I'm sorry, Vince, I'm an old dog. It takes me a while to learn some new tricks. The Sacramento A's Double-A team, and it's the best of three, and Midland won the first game. So tonight they're playing game 2. If the
Those Rockhounds.
Yeah, the Rockhounds. I like their mascot though. I like the what's going on there, but the A's, very talented minor league, and right now we're down 1-0. But if we win tonight, we'll go to the the rubber game, the third game, and that'll be even more exciting. We've got some great young talent down there. Baez, Chandler in the outfield. We got a catcher who they think may be the best catcher in our system, and we've got 5 catchers in our top 30 prospects. And this one in Springfield is the one, but he's very young. So I think he needs some more seasoning before he gets here. But the future looks bright down there with the Springfield team, and they haven't been in the championship. They haven't won the championship since 2012. So that'd be nice, something to hang your hat on. Maybe bright days ahead in the future for the Cardinals. The Cardinals say goodbye to John Mozeliak, and I know we knew it was coming. He was one of the guys that announced this was his last year, and I think it was time for a change. And Vince, this is just my take on the whole Mozeliak thing. I think of course, it's easy to cheer somebody when things are going good, but I think when he fired Schilt, that's when everything switched of his popularity. Now, after the Schilt thing, we also went to a funk, and we kind of below average team right now. But I just think there was no cause to get rid of Schilt. There must have been some sort of agree. There was something going on back there to get rid of him because I loved him, and I think he's just a great manager. And I think that really put a stain on the Mozeliak era. He made some great trades. He made some bad trades, but there was a lot of playoff success and making the playoffs while he was here. And I appreciate him. He spent 30 years with the team, and I do think he should be honored. But it didn't go. The last 3 years did not go down very well. So I'm looking for a new regime and new things go to happen. And anything has to be better than what's been going on lately.
I think
Sunday, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think Mozeliak came in a little behind the eight ball because he took over for Jocketty, who was very popular, and Jocketty was good with the media. It just he's just a guy sitting across your living room talking baseball.
Yeah.
Mozeliak, I don't know if he is this way, but he comes across as condescending. His natural way of talking to people is to talk down to them. And I don't know if he realizes he does it, but that's the way it comes across. But he would say some things that even when the Cardinals were winning were bothersome, like during spring training, why didn't we get this right? Well, we're going to look and see what kind of low hanging fruit. Yeah, no fan base wants to hear you're going after low hanging fruit. I mean, yeah, you can catch lightning in a bottle every now and then with I don't know, a Gary Gaetti or something, but for the most part, you shouldn't be saying we're looking for low hanging fruit. We're looking for good fits for our team, um, something like that. But you would never hear Jocketty say we're looking for low hanging fruit. We're looking for the best players we can get, man.
That's right. Yeah, Whitey would never say that, or when he was GM
Yeah.
either.
And when Jocketty was here, that was the apex of baseball heaven and everything. Everybody wanted to play in St. Louis, and a lot of that was Jockey's personality. And Jockey's the kind of guy who could sit across the table from a free agent, and if he gave him a competitive offer, he could talk him into coming here for a little bit less money than in one of the big markets because you're in baseball heaven, man. You're not going to believe what it's like here. And now, it was very sad to listen to Arenado his last home game, talking about the empty stands and stuff, that isn't really what he bargained for. But I think Mozeliak did a lot of things that shot himself in the foot. And I think there were some things he did unintentional because that's just how he comes across. So I think that things will pick up with the change in the GM.
Yeah, Vince, he made some moves that really backfired. The Rosarina, Rosarina goes down to Tampa Bay and just sets it on fire. But now Livertor was part of that deal, and he was a young guy, and it's coming around now. It's still a lopsided trade, but Livertor's making it where it's a little more. We need a pitching anyway. We have a ton of outfielders, and he's not even Tampa Bay no more. He's in Seattle. But there's been some trades. You were talking about the Jocketty years, Vince. I would look around and say, how did we get Scott Rowland? Jimmy Edmonds is here. I'd look around and I can't believe all these guys are here. It was really
the same thing. How in the hell did the Cardinals get Scott Rowland?
Chris Carpenter.
Why are these people wanting to come here?
I've been to St. Louis. It's okay. I mean, it's not the Riviera or anything like that. We got Ted Drews. I guess that's enough to drag up a couple of people over here. But yeah, it was a special time, and I'm still really. I have not waned in my love for the Cardinals. I've sat through in the Dodgers and the Pirates and the Reds just to beat the crap out of us, and then when the Brewery after Augie died, and we had Zeal and Pagnazzi and Langford and all them, just young guys, and we weren't very competitive then, but I still loved watching them young guys, and I do now, and I think better days if we'd done a little this, a little that, and even if we were, let's say, 6 games better, I don't think we're a major threat to anybody, the playoff caliber teams, and so it is what it is this year. I do think this year was not I always grade the thing as this. Do we play meaningful games in September? And no, we can't celebrate being 19 games back in a division. I always say if we're 5 games back and at least we have a fighting chance, that's a pretty good year. But no, this year was not a good year. We did have, I don't want to talk about injuries because the Cubs have had so many injuries. Everybody's had injuries, and that's just part of the game. We learned a lot. I really like this McCreevy kid, and I think I'm very excited for his future. And there's just Herrera. That kid is a good hitter. I don't think we have really what you would call a superstar, but we have some very good players, and I'm excited to see what the future brings. Nolan Arenado, I don't know if you saw this Sunday. He was in the lineup. They took him out of the lineup. They put him back in the lineup. Then before the game started, Ollie came out and then put somebody in third, and he walked off the field and waved to the fans. And I think everybody was confused. The people who even play music were like, "What's going on?" So it was very awkward. But without all being said, I love him and Arenado. It's been a pleasure watching him. It looks like he's on the way out, but I don't know. They may not be able to trade him again this year. That's a big contract. Like you were talking before about Trout, that's a big contract. I don't know. We're going to have to eat a lot of that money. And I don't know if worst comes to worst, are they just going to cut him? I can't see him eating that kind of money. But I know they're going to try to make a move. And I'd like to see him get a shot at a good team, a team that's got a real legitimate shot at the World Series. And because he's only got a few more years, he's probably playing ball. So anyway, it was kind of sad. That's how it went. And then we go on the road, and he played last night and had a heck of a game. So I'm just going to kind of miss him, and very thankful for the years we've had with him. Um, let's see. Oh, the Cardinals met with Herrera, and it looks like he's going to go to winter ball and work on his catching. And I heard Ollie talk about now. He's probably on our depth chart, our third catcher. Um, It'd be great if he could handle the catching job, but Vince, I'm not very. Don't have a lot of high hope that he's going to come in because you would have his bat in the lineup if he could, throw runners out and call a good game and block the balls. But I honestly, I don't give good odds for him winning the catcher position with his defensive skills. So that's just me saying that. It'd be wonderful if he could catch and hit like he does, but we shall see. That's just something to look up for next year. The Cardinals this week, actually, we were 4-2 this week, and we ended our home record this year at 44-37. And we're on our last week of the season, and we're on the road. And last night, the Giant game, I stayed up and watched the whole game of 6-5. So much fun. Each team made great plays. Each team made some blunders. But right now we're 77-80. And in the last 8 games, our starting pitcher actually have done really well with 2.86 ERA. I don't want to talk about all that. Anyway, 4-2 the last week. And we're in San Francisco for 2 more games, a day off, and then we end in Wrigley Field. We end the season in Wrigley Field. And please don't beat us up too bad. Let us have a couple, 1, maybe 2. That'd be nice to end the season. So that's it for Cardinal news, Vince.
All right, with the Cubs, I'll start with the other stuff. The Cubs have announced who will be playing in the Arizona Fall League. We have pitchers Jensen, Caleb Killian, Brendan Little, and Dennis Correa, infielder Andy Weber, infielder Luis Vasquez, and outfielder Nelson Vasquez. So we've got some pretty good representation in the Arizona Fall League. So none of our top guys, but we've got representation there. Kind of excited to see what Caleb Killian does, being he's kind of rediscovered his fastball and has looked good. And we've tried to, and that's who we got for Chris Bryant. We've tried to, he's had his moments, but I don't know, injuries or whatever. But anyway, we did secure a playoff last Wednesday by beating the Pirates 8-4, and then we turned around and we got swept by Cincinnati in 4 games. I'm not happy about that. We should have been more competitive. I don't like letting a division rival into the playoffs. Also, we would have had to do a split with them, and they would be out of the picture. But the way the Mets are playing, and with all the confidence the Reds have now, it looks like the Reds are, because they're tied with the Mets with the last playoff spot. So that's going to be. I could see a scenario where we run into the Reds in the playoffs and lose. That their pitching is that good. Not great offense, but man, their pitching is awesome. Going into the playoffs, we have issues with Kyle Tucker with his strained calf. He has went home to Tampa because he wasn't responding to treatment with the team doctor, so he's got his own personal doctor, and I haven't heard a thing about it since then. So I am not counting on him to be in that first round. I'm just not. We've got to play without him, and we can put Suzuki in right field, not the greatest defender in the world, and then we could DH with Ballesteros, and then against the lefty, we can always Turner or something. But I'm I'm to a point where I'm just not counting him. I've thrown him out of my mind, and if we get him, great. If not, we got to go without him. Last Tuesday, I think the game of the week for us, we played Pittsburgh, and Cade Horton was pitching against Paul Skeens, and we won 4-1. Horton is now 11-4 with a 2.66 ERA. If he wins tonight, he's going to be the Rookie of the Year. And there's no question in my mind. If he loses, he's still got a really good shot at being Rookie of the Year. But the way this is setting up, he pitches tonight. He could be pitching that first game of the playoffs.
Wow.
And like I said earlier, he's the only starter I trust right now. I'm not saying Boyd is terrible. I'm saying he's not hitting his spots like he was, and he's getting hit pretty good. And same with Imanaga. Imanaga, if he's pitching in Wrigley and it's cold, the wind is blowing in, he's going to win because those fly balls are caught 20 feet from the wall. If it's warm or if he's pitching on the road, like in a Cincinnati, those fly balls go out. So it is what it is. And we have 3 games starting tonight with the Mets, and then we finish with 3 games against the Cardinals. The good news is the Mets are in a tailspin. The bad news is they're playing us, who's also in a tailspin. So, and they're playing for their playoff lives, and we seem to be resting on our laurels. So, and then of course the Cardinal, that's a rivalry game. You never know what's going to happen with that. Yeah. So we are still 2 wins away from 90 wins. I'd like to get to 90 wins. I do not want to lose that top spot in the wild card to the Padres. So we need a couple more wins, a couple with a loss or 2 by San Diego, and we'll be okay as far as the city goes. That's all I got for Cubs scores. I'm not going to go through all the box scores because it just depresses me. We're 2-4 this week, but we might as well have been 0-10 because the last 4 against Cincinnati was just pathetic. But you know who's never pathetic?
Oh, Jeremy Connor.
Jeremy Connor is never pathetic.
Never.
Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. We are going to do our all-time team of players who have played for both the Cardinals and the Cubs. This was harder than I thought it would be.
Yes, it is.
So what I did is I just went position by position, and then I did a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher. I didn't do a designated hitter. I didn't do a left-handed starter and a right-handed starter. I just went in that direction. So we'll just go around the horn, and we'll talk about what you thought, and I'll tell you what I thought, and we'll see how we kind of shape up.
Well, first of all, there's a ton of players that have played for both teams. You wouldn't think teams in the same division would trade as much as we have. Plus, a guy might start out with Chicago, go other places, and come to St. Louis, or vice versa. So, you want me to start with catcher?
Yeah, let's start with catcher.
All right. Well, there was a lot of catchers to choose from. The
Steve
early,
Swisher.
yes, that's who I originally had at the forefront of mine. And there was Wilkins and Girardi and Ken Rudolph and Dave Rader and Mike Delafelice. And I was thinking between Swisher and Joe Garagiola. Them were like my two. But Vince, I did a little digging, and I'm going with Walker Cooper. Walker Cooper played, let's see, I have so many stats on 8-time All-Star, a WAR of 27.3, which is higher than the other players' WAR. He played 8 years with the Cardinals, 2 with the Cubs, 8-time All-Star. Uh, let's see, 1,341 hits, 173 home runs, and a 285 batting average. And over his career, which was 18 years, he had 5 times he was in the MVP voting. Uh, Outstanding player. He was a part of the Gas House game, and so I just seen his WAR and accomplishments, and I give Walker Cooper the lead for the catchers for me.
I had three. Um, First one I had was O'Farrell, and he was the first one eliminated. So it was between Walker Cooper and someone else. And the next person I eliminated was Walker Cooper.
Okay,
So can you guess who my player is?
let's see. Who would that
Not
be?
Ted Sizemore.
Contreras.
Contreras, yes. Av
Yes.
Contreras, who played for the Cubs from 16 to 22, and then he's been with the Cardinals since 23. 29.3 WAR in his career. But what I really like, he has an 811 career OPS, which is really good for a catcher. Um, he's a 3-time All-Star, and although he's not catching anymore, he did catch the first couple of years with the Cardinals. And that was one of the tougher ones. I had the three, and when I'm going to go for Contreras, and the deciding factor was he's the one I've seen. So I went with
And
Contreras catcher.
even though he's a Cardinal, I always still think of him as a Cub, part of your World Championship team. Great player. I love his desire. Of course, I don't know all that Walker Cooper's makeup or anything like that, but Contreras is the kind of guy you want on your team. He's a fiery individual, and he gives you 100% every single game. And he tries, even when he's not feeling his best or hurt or banged up, he's out there playing. So, yeah, great pick. I'm with you, Contreras. That's a great one, Vince. Well, for first base, of course, I had a couple people there. I was thinking of Wilson Contreras at first base, to be honest with you. I was thinking of him there. There was another player I had close, but when it came down to it, I took Ripper Collins. And Ripper played in the 30s. Ripper, 6 years with the Cardinals, 2 with the Cubs, 288 batting average, 135 home runs, and a WAR of 24.9, which in today's things isn't big. But Ripper Collins was a very good player, and played 8 years of his career with both of our teams. So I put him at first.
Okay, I see why you did that. And when we get done with this, you'll see why I didn't do that.
Okay.
Uh, First base, I have Charlie Grimm, who played for the Cardinals in 1918. Uh, JJ was just 4 at that time. And then he played for the Cubs from 25 to 36. A lifetime 290 hitter, 1,077 RBIs, a career WAR of 12.5. Not the greatest stats in the world, but for the other first baseman, I was considering those stats pretty much put him over the top. So I have Charlie Grimm at first base.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Some of those older players, you almost have to individually look to see what positions they played. I knew the names, but I wasn't for sure where some of these guys played. I had to go back. The guys from the 1800s and maybe pre-World War One. I had to go back and see where they played. So that one kind of, I'll be honest with you, that one kind of got by me on that one. Well, second base, I got a feeling we're going to be on the same page for second base.
The easy one.
That was the
base
easy one. And I'm just going to say his name and then let you talk about him. So I won't eat up all that. But Roger Hornsby, what a player. I can't believe the Cardinals let him go. We ended up getting Frankie Frisch. So it wasn't a total bust, but he was a player manager for our World Series team, our first World Series. And I just don't think he got along with the rest of the players very well. But what didn't that guy do? So I put Hornsby at second base.
As did I. Played for the Cardinals from 15 to 26, and then played for the Cubs 29 through 32, a lifetime 358 batting average, which is okay. He had 301 home runs. So you're talking about a middle infielder who had power. We think middle infielders with power, that's a new thing. No, he had power. 1,584 RBIs, 127.3 WAR.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
you accumulate that high of a WAR whenever your offense is so much better than everyone else at that position. So there weren't other second basemen hitting with that kind of power and average. So he way up there with WAR. At career, 1.010 OPS. Insane, just completely insane. So that was a no-brainer. That was the easiest no-brainer. There's a couple other no-brainers I have. That was the easiest no-brainer.
Well, shortstop, I'm telling you what, we've had a lot of good shortstops that have played for both of our teams. And this one, you're probably going to have somebody I didn't even see coming, but I put Don Kessinger.
I got Kessinger also.
Really? I love Don Kessinger. What a nice guy. I will tell a little personal story here. I have an uncle who it was a preacher in Forest City, Arkansas, and Don Kessinger was one of his best friends. I would always hear he would do things with Don Kessinger, and I was just always like, just what a nice guy. He was a player manager for the White Sox, but for the Cardinals, he played 2 years, and he played, I believe it was 12 years for the Cubs, and just heavy on defense. He was a six-time All-Star, two-time Gold Glover, still got 1,931 hits and a lifetime 247 batting average. And I've just always liked Don Kessinger. There was a lot of other shortstops, but they didn't seem to have as many years with both teams. You know, they might have played like 3 years or something like that. Where Kessinger played, 14 years with both teams.
And Kessinger did some classy things. When Templeton was coming up, and it was apparent that Templeton was a shortstop of the future, Kessinger did not write, "Oh, I should be playing more." He willingly took the back seat. Then when he went to the White Sox as the player manager, you would have thought he would. I'm the shortstop. No, he started Bill Allman at shortstop one of those years, and I'm trying to think. Maybe Alan Bannister one of those years.
You know, Bucky Dent might have been there in his time when he was with
maybe Bucky Dent, because that was 78. No, Dent would have been gone by then. That was 79. Yeah, he was the player. He is a player coach, but he didn't play that much. He let other guys, have the infield, and I always respected him for that. And I don't know the guy, of course, but I remember when I was a kid and just hearing all the stories of what a great guy Kessinger is. One of my dad's favorites of all time. So,
hey, all right. Very nice. By the way, we gave away a autographed 8x10 of Don Kessinger, and the guy who won it says he was a younger guy. He was like, "Who is this? Is that Mr. Rogers?" And I said, "No, that's Don Kessinger." But he's just as nice. He's just as nice. I don't know if you ever knew that part of the story, but he didn't know who Don Kessinger was.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
All right. Third base. Vince, I went over this for a while. We've had a lot of names there. I mean, Patrick Wisdom was just with the Cubbies. But I put Gary Gaetti.
I put Gary Gaetti.
Very oh, right. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to mention Gary Gaetti. I liked him. I do think of him not as a Cardinal or a Cub. I think of him as a Twin. He came up to the Twin system and he was on those at least one World Series team there. And he was just somebody who filled it. I mean, he came to our team when we really didn't have a third baseman and did a heck of a job. Power, defense. I always liked him. Gaetti played 3 years in St. Louis and 2 in Chicago, and I'll let you continue talking about him. But I always liked Gary Gaetti. Met him once, signed some things for me. Very nice guy.
Gary Gaetti is the pride of Centralia, Illinois. Uh,
Oh,
and he was with the Cardinals 96 through 98 and the Cubs 98, 99. And for his career, hit 360 home runs, 1,341 RBIs, a 42.1 WAR, which is a really good WAR, lifetime WAR for a third baseman, being that's a power position where you usually have some great athletes there. So he had a really good career, and I always liked him. I liked him as a Twin, and then I liked him as a Royal, then I liked him as an Angel, then I liked him as a Cub. I hated him as a Cardinal.
I kept waiting. I kept waiting.
You remember on KC, John Hewlett every now and then would have a Cardinal come in and be a guest DJ.
No, I do not remember that, Vince.
That was in the 90s, and I remember Gaetti was once the guest DJ for KC for an afternoon or whatever it was. And he had some deep cuts that were really cool. I thought, oh, this guy knows music. I like it. I like this guy. So,
Right. If you're out there, Gary Gaetti, you're welcome to come on. We would love to have you.
oh
And
yeah.
we'll talk whatever you want to talk about. Baseball, music, whatever. That would be great. Well, Vince, I got 3 outfielders. I don't know how to distinguish them, so I'm going to go for the obvious one first. And I'm going to say Lou Brock. Now,
Broke.
Lou Brock is a Hall of Famer, and I'm going to give the Cubs some love here because, when we got him, he was a very, very good player. We gave him a pitcher at the time who was very good, but he came through the Cubs organization and through their minor leagues and everything, and he did a heck of a job. He played 15. He's only played with 2 teams, the Cubs and the Cardinals. I had him down having 4 years with the Cubs. I just thought it was a couple of years. Maybe that was his minor league years too. I don't know.
No,
But
he played parts of 4 seasons with the Cubs and couldn't put it together.
okay. I
Good
just
game.
remember the 2 years, and I hadn't. Well, of course, I wasn't born until after he came up to the big leagues, and but he played the majority of his career with the Cardinals. 3,000 hits, a 293 lifetime batting average. His WAR was not as high as I thought it would be, but Lou didn't have a whole lot of power. What he was known for is running the base pads and led the National League in stolen bases for. It seemed like I had it written down here. He had 938 stolen bases, and 10 times he was in the MVP votes. He got votes for an MVP 10 different seasons, All-Star 6 times, and 2-time world champion. And Vince, there was a time, and I don't know if he still is, but he had the highest batting average in World Series history. I believe it. There was a time where he had the highest
Quite a
batting
while,
average.
yeah.
Yeah, so Lou Brock, growing up, he was like the captain of the Cardinals. Everybody, Lou Brock, he was the man. So I met him a couple times at card shows, but one time I was just in St. Louis and him and his wife, he's from Arkansas, by the way. I have to put that out there. But they were coming to the door and I hurried and I opened the door for him. And he goes, "Hey, thanks a lot." So that's just my little interaction with Lou Brock, but I always remember that. And the first game I ever went to was the Astros and Cardinals in 1976. And I just remember walking up in the bleachers and there was Lou Brock. The field grass was so green and the uniforms were so just colorful. And of course, the Astros had that rainbow looking thing they wore back in the 70s. It was just a real treat to see Lou Brock play. So anyway, Lou Brock was one of my outfielders.
A couple things about Brock. First, he's one of the very few players who ever hit a home run out of dead center at the Polo Grounds, which was like 500 feet away.
Didn't know that.
And he did have a year where he hit over 20 home runs. I think it was the only year he had double digits home runs, but he hit like 22 home runs. Um, and as far as the WAR goes, one of the issues with his WAR was he was such a poor defender, even by left field standards, and that along with not a whole lot of power is what knocked his WAR down. And there are people who argue that he's the worst player in the Hall of Fame. I don't agree with that.
Oh,
I think when you have 900 stolen bases and set a record that had been forever, the Ty Cobb record when he broke it, you're definitely in the Hall of Fame. 293 career batting average. Come on, man. This guy's a Hall of Famer. So I have Brock in left field.
and a
That was
classic guy too.
my
Very
second
classic.
no-brainer.
Well, Vince, I don't know if you have this other guy. I put him in center field. He played all over in the outfield. But Jose Cardinal, would that be a name you have?
No.
Oh, I have Jose Cardinal. 2 years with the Cardinals, 6 years with the Cubs. Um, let's see, over 1,900 base hits, 138 home runs, 275 batting average with both teams. Um, he, I always, some of the stats I didn't know. 329 stolen bases. I didn't know Cardinal was a base stealer. I didn't know that. Um, very good player, 18 years in the big leagues and 8 of them with us, as I mean the Cubs and the Cardinals. And the only interaction I have with him, and I tell this story many times, it was straight A night. Of course, I'm not a straight A student, but I was out there with a friend, and the kids are giving Jose Cardinal a lot of crap. And when he pulled up his pants, he flipped us off, and we were cheering. And let me tell you, we deserved it. We were little punks, and Jose Cardinal put us in our places. For that, I applaud you, Jose Cardinal.
I got Jim Edmonds in center.
Dude, you got Jim Edmonds, okay.
Played with the Cardinals from 2000 through 2007. And then in 2008, he went to the Cubs and really helped us in that playoff push. We flopped in the playoffs, but he was a big part of that team. 393 career home runs, 60.4 WAR, 8 Gold Gloves. Um, I I have him above Cardinal. Center field was, yeah, I kind of liked Edmonds from the start.
Edmonds is a better defender. That's true. That's true. I just didn't know if he played enough. Well, anyway, so yeah, I think I'm with you. I think probably Edmonds is the better choice there. I try not to be a homer too much, with the newer guys and stuff like that. Uh, and the last player I have in the outfield is Hank Sauer. Is that a name you had?
No.
Oh, Hank Sauer was an MVP. Um, 2 All-Star games. Played 1 year with the Cardinals, 7 with the Cubs, 282 lifetime batting average, and had 203 home runs. And let's see, his average was 282, but over his whole career was 266. He played 15 years, and he was in the MVP voting several years, and he did win one. 6 times he was in the MVP voting. So I had a lot of names on there, but I went with Hank Sauer.
Okay. I'm gonna rewind ourselves all the way back to near the beginning of this discussion. My right fielder is Ripper Collins, who played first base and right field. So
Oh,
way I could put Charlie Grimm at first base. So you've already talked about Ripper, 296 career batting average, 852 OPS, 3-time All-Star. And he played during those prime years where the home run was really becoming a big thing and you had some big stats going on there. And he kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometime, but I have him in right field.
all right. Now we got to the pitchers, right? Did you have 2 starters?
I just have one starter.
1 starter? Okay, I'm going to go with my 1 starter then. I had 3 in there, but I'm going to go the one I thought stood out the most to me was a pitcher named Lou Warnick, a right-handed pitcher from Arkansas. Always had to say that. He played 15 years, spent, and it interrupted 14 years, had a year of, he fought in World War II, and then came back and finished out. Played from 1930 to 1945, 10 with the Cubs, and 6 with the Cardinals. There was a year he played with both teams, and won 109 games, and he was 109 and 72 with the Cubbies, and 83 and 49 with the Cardinals. Had a 3.18 ERA, and his WAR was 42.1. Vince, now this was a different time. 192 complete games. 192 complete games. Some people don't pitch 192 games. And in 1933, he had 26 complete games, led the major leagues, 5 All-Stars, 7 MVP votes, pitched over 2,782 innings. He was second for the MVP in 1932, and he lost it. And he was with the Cubbies then, and lost it to Chuck Klein of the Phillies. So, but then you look at the strikeouts, 1,140. Like I said, back in the, during the World War II years, players just didn't strike out that much. So I put Lou Warnick as the pitcher for both teams.
I can't believe that, because pitcher was my third no-brainer, starting pitcher. Grover Cleveland Alexander.
He was number 2 on mine. I had Alexander and Clark Griffith.
Alexander pitched for the Cubs from 18 to 26, the Cardinals 26 through 29. Hall of Famer, 373 wins, 2.56 ERA, 119.7 WAR. I don't know how you put him at number 2 in your pitching.
I put 3 pitchers. I don't know if I had them in that order, but Grover Cleveland was the second one I had written down. So maybe he was the best one. I just thought of 3. I didn't want to go 5, so I had 3. So you're right, but I had him in here. Yeah. Now that you say that, I look like a moron, but you're right. It's obviously Grover Cleveland Alexander.
175 more wins, lower ERA. I didn't mean to make you look like a moron.
No, but I kind of feel like it. But I had them written down. And Vince, there was he was 9 years with the Cubs, 4 with the Cardinals, but that 26 World Series, he came back after like 1 day of rest and pitched the last 3 innings of Game 7. And yeah, and it was a hot day or something. He had a drinking issues, and he had a long sleeve like sweater thing he pitched in, and just without him, the Cardinals would have won that first World Series they got.
Well, who do you got in the bullpen? Who's your closer?
Well, I got 2 guys there, and you can know who the 2 guys are. And I would probably go number 1. Vince, I was writing so fast there. I think Lee Smith would be my number 1 guy. Who you got in your bullpen?
I got Suter at number 1.
I had Suter and Lee, and I'm trying to look, and my stats are just kind of running into each other there.
There was also Eckersley that pitched for both teams, so this was a tough one.
Yeah, Eckersley only played 2 years with us, and right there at the end of his career.
Yeah, he didn't close for us. He started for us, so he was kind of in that transition time when he was with us. So.
But Lee Smith had a little bit higher, but Bruce Sutter's an unusual guy. He would come in and pitch 3 innings and get a save, and he had a Cy Young, and Lee had maybe more appearances and a longer career because Bruce got hurt earlier. But for us, I still think of Bruce Sutter as he went in the Hall of Fame as a Cardinal, but I still think of it because he won the 82 World Championship. But I still think of him as a Cub. Those years with you guys were just something special. He was still great with the Cardinals, but with the Cubs, that was just, you knew you better get the lead earlier. It's over with. He'd come in there and just nobody could hit that split finger thing he was throwing,
Yeah, and people hadn't seen much of it before, and you saw fork balls, but that was more of an off-speed stuff, and here comes this fork ball coming at 95 miles an hour. What the heck do I do with this? So,
and he struck out Gorman Thomas, the last out of the 82 World Series, not with that. He threw a high fastball. I think Thomas was waiting on that split finger and got fooled, and the rest is history.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Smith has better numbers, but a longer career. But the reason I gave it to Suter was the fact that he would pitch multiple innings, and he was he was a difference maker in '82 for the Cardinals.
I've never seen, I don't think I've seen a reliever that would be that durable and pitch that much. And I mean, he could carry a team on his back. And Mariano Rivera was different because he was a one inning guy, but he just shut you down. I had never seen a guy shut anybody like that, but Suter would for 3 innings, you know. I mean, I don't remember guys like that. Gossage would go a couple of innings, but anyway, Bruce Sutter, and you know, again, Suter had that short, great career, and he's just. I think relievers should be judged different than starters and everyday players. It's just different because you know, with WAR, they don't have the WAR that a lot of everybody else does.
Yeah. Well, Suter, I think it was 77 that in the month of May he had 18 saves.
Oh, my gosh, that's unheard of.
Yeah, unreal.
Well,
Well, that's
Vince,
our
I have to
team.
say this. I give you the tip of the cap. I like yours. We agreed on a lot, and now that seeing how the way you thought about it and everything, I have to say, you know, the Grover Cleveland Alexander put the nail on me. That was perfect right there. But outfield too. Edmonds over Cardinal. Although, you know, I was giving some Cubs some love there. I thought Jose Cardinal was a very good player. But yeah, you're right. Jim Edmonds on defense alone was a superior outfielder.
If he would have went to the Cubs and maybe just like pinch hit for 2 months and hit 230, I wouldn't have put him on there. But for the half season he was with the Cubs, whatever it was, he he played very well, especially down the stretch. And yeah, I will always think of him as a Cardinal, but I will never forget that he was a Cub because he played really well for us. JJ, I have 1990 Fleer, the Nature Boy. Woo, Rick Fleer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, anything Ric Flair I'm with. I got these cards again. One more pack from the SP Sports cards over there in Farmington. Great place. I'll be going back again. But I have 2021 Heritage Baseball. They look like the 1972 style cards. So that's what I'm opening today.
Why does that guy got his finger in his ear?
Well, I guess he's holding it right there, and he's about to.
I think
Well,
he
they
just.
showed all those training films. They have you hold the ball like that, like shortstops, for some reason.
Oh, you want to go first?
Why, sure, I'd love to. Let me get these cards out of the pack and kind of get them pointed in the right direction. All right, here we go. Ooh, the first one. Great player, injury prone, St. Louis Cardinal. Here, Tyler O'Neill in 2021. Look at that guy. He is ripped.
Mr.
Yeah,
IL.
that's right. Phillies pitcher, very great pitcher, Zach Wheeler. Is he going to be ready for the playoffs this year?
I don't know.
I
When
don't
he
know either. There's so many
not
injuries,
better right
Vince.
now.
Yeah, Zach Wheeler. Let's see here. An in-action card, Tampa Bay, Brandon Lowe. And that was just like the 72 cards. They had those in-action cards. So that's sort of a salute to the cards back in 72. Oh, Vince, a Cubby, Kyle Schwarber, right there. I know. I'm so sorry. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
2020 AL strikeout leaders. Would you care to guess? I'll give you two strikes. Can you name any of the 2020 AL strikeout leaders?
Hmm.
I'll give you a hint. The most strikeouts in the league was a Cleveland Indian at the time.
Would that have been Bauer?
No. Some
Uh,
say his fans have a fever.
Beaver?
Shane Bieber. There they are, the strikeout leaders. Shane Bieber, Lucas Giolito and Garrett Cole. Right there, a White Sox right there in the middle. And Garrett Cole, it was a Yankee back then. He still is. He's been hurt though. He won't be there for the playoffs this year. In action again, Jake Cronenworth from the Padres, right there, very good player.
There we go.
We have 2021 rookies, and a National and a Brave, Christian Pacha, an outfielder from the Braves, and Luis Garcia, a second baseman for the Nationals. I'll show you the card. I do not know those players. I think I've heard the names, but couldn't tell you a thing about them. And then finally, Tampa Bay Ray, Brandon Lowe. And look at that. He must have hit it because he's sitting there admiring his home run shot right there.
You got two of them. You got the inaction card and that card.
Yes, Lowe's everywhere. All
So
right, Vince, that's it for my set.
say
There wasn't
two
many cards
Hall of
in it.
Famers.
Oh, I'll say no Hall of Famers.
Okay. First thing I got, stickers,
Oh,
and I got an Expo sticker, so I'm pretty happy about that.
yes.
So, former Cardinal, former Brave, Lonnie Smith,
Oh, yeah, skates. Yeah,
skates.
Philadelphia Philly, Royal.
1990 All-Stars, Don Mattingly and Mark McGuire. Look how
All right.
big McGuire is compared to Mattingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Former Cardinal outfielder, the bespeckled Alex Coe.
Oh, yeah. Very fast player.
Catcher for Cleveland, the brother of Leonard, we have Joel Skinner.
Okay. I remember him.
Ooh, the Hall of Very Good, former Cardinal, former Met, former Indian, Keith Hernandez.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think one
been an
might get
all-time
in there.
heartthrob.
Yeah. Great defensive first baseman. Best I've ever seen at first.
Pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, Mark Williamson.
I don't know him, Vince.
I remember the name, but very good outfielder, former All-Star. Guy hit a lot of home runs for the Milwaukee Brewers, Greg Vaughn.
Oh, yeah. You didn't want to mess with him. Yeah, a big guy.
Here was one of my favorite players growing up. As everybody knows, my American League team was the Royals. And aside from George Brett, when I was a kid, this guy was my second favorite player, the All-Star Frank White.
Oh, yeah. It's Mr. Smooth. Very good. Pulled a lot of double plays.
Yeah, oh yeah. Mets pitcher, Blaine Beatty. Don't know who he is,
No.
but I better learn who he is because he's coming to my house for Thanksgiving. Former second baseman for Cleveland, also former governor of California, Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown. Oh, we'll have to get him on the show and let him talk about Leonard Ronstadt.
Former Oriole, former Red, former Dodger. Oh gosh, what could have been if this guy could have stayed healthy? Eric Davis, Eric the Red.
Oh, yeah. I remember when he went to the Dodgers, him and Strawberry were over there. They thought, oh, we got the World Series now.
Yeah, and that's when he was really starting to break down.
Yeah.
Players of the decade, 10th anniversary. We have former Cub, former Philly, former White Sox, and he really made his mark with the Toronto Blue Jays. George Bell, former MVP.
Oh, yeah. Was he a Cubby? Did you say he was a Cub? Was he a Cub
He
at one
was a
time?
Cub for 1 year. We had him for a year. He had a good year for us. He went through the Phillies organization with Sandberg, so they were always really tight. So it was kind of exciting that George Bell was coming. One of the reasons why he wanted to come to Chicago was to play with Sandberg. And then after the season, Bell defensively was really slowing down. And we decided to go younger. We traded him to the White Sox for some guy named Sam Sousa, something like that. I don't know.
Well, that worked out pretty good for you.
Yeah. Former Giant pitcher, former All-Star, Atlee Hammaker.
Oh yeah, I thought he was going to be big. I mean, he had a nice career, but I thought he was going to be a superstar.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Former Red Sox pitcher and former Cincinnati Reds pitcher Joe Price.
Oh yes, I remember him. I think a bull was he bullpen?
Yeah,
I think
yeah, he kept being referenced by Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase always said every man has his price. I don't know what he didn't
that's
get.
him. Oh, that's what he was getting at.
Oh, I got a Hall of Famer, not just a Hall of Famer, one dear to my heart, the recently passed Ryan Sandberg.
Oh, you got to put that in a special spot,
Oh,
right?
always in a special spot. Well, I got one Hall of Famer, so that's not bad. I do
Yeah.
want to remind you next week we'll be previewing the playoffs. So we are going to record a date early on Monday, being Tuesday starts the playoffs. And that will be an abbreviated show because I've got an insane schedule next week. And as most of you know by now, I'm doing another podcast with my daughter. It doesn't take as much, I don't want to say work. It doesn't take as much preparation and it doesn't take as much editing as this one does. But I do have to watch a movie every week and not just watch a movie, take detailed notes on the movie. So it is a little time consuming. But other than that, we have to go to Memphis because Rebecca has a recital and with work, tax deadlines October 15th. It's just kind of crunching. So we will be dropping it on Tuesday before the playoffs, and it's probably going to only be about a 45-minute show, abbreviated, but we are going to cover the playoffs.
All right.
So tune in.
Oh, I'm excited. Playoff baseball, nothing better.
That's right. I'm excited. Well, JJ, you have a good week, and
You
I
too,
will
sir.
see you Tuesday, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.